back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OST as we have returned with the grand finale with two more qualifying matches remaining here in today's broadcast for the GSL, for round one at least, for round one of the GSL. As we have been referring to, there is still a last chance qualifier where players that had made it to these qualifying matches but didn't actually qualify for GSL, they're going to be invited and seeded into another bracket where they have a final chance to make it into the Global StarCraft League. So don't fret, it's not all doom and gloom for the players that have been losing here. For the players that have been dropping, players like Stats, like DRG and Gumiho and SOS, they have another chance. Speaking of, Su is going to be coming up momentarily. For the time being, ByuN versus Solar, loser of this series, goes up against Su in the next matchup, in the final qualifying match of the night. Who's it going to be though? We're here to find out. I'm excited. Like, when I saw these matches, I was like, yo, ByuN versus Solar, that's crazy. Solar, he's our most recent GSL champion. ByuN, of course, was recently at IM Katowice, had a good run of his own, was able to make it to the, if I'm not mistaken, ByuN made it to the quarterfinals, top 8, if I'm not mistaken. He had a really deep run. Did end up falling in a ZvT, if I'm not mistaken. But alas, it was great to see him. It was right, ByuN versus Maru. That's it. I remember. I remember the headlock that ByuN got Maru in after the loss. It was great. It was beautiful. It's a great moment. Great. If you missed it, I do recommend checking out the VODs of IM Katowice. It was great seeing them interact. For those who don't know, Maru and ByuN are like best friends. Like, they're really good friends and they play around a lot. They troll each other a lot. And after that series, I remember that Maru was looking hesitant, and then he went for the handshake. And Maru, he went for the kill. He went for the headlock, papi. Oh, it was crazy. Took him down. It was beautiful. Great times, great times. Regardless, we're here. We're getting into game number 1 between these two players. Gonna be on Alkyone. Let's go. Let us go. Aye, exactly. What time zone are you? Usually I'm living in Australia. Usually I am in the land of Australia, but for the month of IM Katowice, I'm here in Poland, as I was I was able to be at the event and meet everyone. It was great to embrace StarCraft and be engulfed by it as well. I've never been to an offline event like that before. I've never been to a DreamHack or a GSL or an IEM or anything. So I was able to be a part of this most recent IEM. And yeah, it was a great experience. But here we go. We're diving into our next qualifying match, into a fresh best of 3. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg, representing his new team, Team Vitality. It is Solar. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the red Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Here we go. And we have been casting quite a bit of ByuN's TVZ as of late, especially post Katowice, and oh my god, he is going for a CC first. He's very fond of this, specifically on this map on Alkyone. At IM Katowice, we saw Maru doing this against Raynor. We saw ByuN doing this against Raynor as well in the lead up to IM Katowice and ESL Open Cup Americas. It is a bit of a greedy opener, but an opener you can get away with, specifically on this map, because of the longer rush distance by ground, because of how macro-oriented this is, and because of his opponent. Solar isn't one to go for early pools, he isn't one to go for early gases. Solar isn't really an aggressive player in the early game, unlike Dark and Shin, for example, so ByuN has nothing to worry about. He can get away with a CC first. This should be leading into a fast third CC as well. We'll see, because ByuN has different variations, has different versions of this build. BIT Solar. There we go. As is going to be going for that Rax as a follow-up. Should be a Factory thereafter. We have seen ByuN go for a third CC even before Factory with this opener, but there it is. Factory is on the way. We're not going crazy. We're not going for a giga greedy build. He's calming things down with that factory. Behind this, hatch gas pool. Standard opener out of Solar. We have seen Solar mix in the 15-15. He has been like sprinkling it into his play, but has opted not to go for it here in game 1. Not yet. We usually stream around this time. We do usually stream around this time. But we do have another broadcast scheduled in 5 hours. Sorry, 4.5 hours. Right? 4.5? No, 5.5. 5.5 hours. Yeah. As we do have that third CC before starport. The links out. Did we actually see the CC? We did. Big scout there from Solar. He does barely catch a glimpse of the command center. So he's fully aware of the economic build here of ByuN and Solar. He can respond, taking his own third base, droning up. He should recognize that he is safe against any kind of early aggression from his opponent. Still needs queens, still needs a handful of lings to defend against a Hellion dive. But outside of that, Solar is free to drone. And he knows it. Is free to drone on up. And we're going to be easing our way into Alkione. Again, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. Solar, he has been willing to get into Lingbane heavy styles with Hydras, of course, into Lurker play. We've seen him go Lingbane into Ultras as well. This wouldn't be a bad map for it, but it can be difficult to really get away with that sort of thing, especially if your opponent is very drop heavy. ByuN does take control of the Zonaga. Behind this, going for... Ooh, okay. This is not a third CC before starport. I mean, it technically is, but from this third CC, we go into double E-bays, then into a second and third racks. A very delayed starport here from ByuN. He's going to be hyper-fixated on upgrades, on building up his bio army. He's going for a delayed push, but when he does move out, it's going to be quite an army that he's going to be working with. Overlord Scout comes in. We get eyes on the add-ons. We get eyes on the production. We do confirm the lack of starport. This should tell Solar that he can be a little bit greedier, that he can drone up and take a fourth, and he can fully saturate on 3 bases. But it does mean that he has to take this push seriously when it does move out. But he should know that for the time being, he has time to drone. So get a big scout there from Solar. Oh my god! Now we have the starport on the way alongside our 4th and 5th racks. Sorry, for a moment there, I thought it was like 4th and 5th racks before starport, but it's after. Thankfully, it's after. Third base is being landed. Third base is being landed, and again, Solar, he's free to just drone on up. He's going to be up to 60 workers, soon to be 66. That is 3-base saturation. 4th base is on the way. We could even try to double expand. As ByuN is still building up back at home. Medevacs are finally on the way, and when the Medevacs pop out, that is when ByuN will push. Should only be drop play from ByuN. As the Marines are ready to move out. Likewise, Solar now main-arding over towards his 4th. Is going to be saturating it. Journey up to 73, soon to be 76. And you could argue, like, is this too greedy? Usually this would be too greedy, but because he knows what ByuN is doing, like, Solar can get away with it. He can get away with this. As now we can focus on Ling production, and now here comes ByuN. Dustin 40 is going for the kill in the 5th. Does force a cancel. 5th base is going to be cancelled. Medevacs have arrived. So far, so good. ByuN even taking out those tumors without a scan. Very nicely done. Active tumors will go down. Does rotate over towards the gold. Gold is being taken. Soul's going to be able to respread that creep. Oh, he wants the queen. And he will get one. Good pick up there from ByuN. Gets a queen. Denies the 5th. And does deny quite a bit of creep spread. Behind this, Solar is going Lingbane Hydra. Hydrogen is on the way. 2-2 has started up. And ByuN isn't really focusing on breaking his opponent, he's just going for some drop play, but here come reinforcements, and because of the delayed creep spread here in the center of the map, ByuN, he can threaten that gold. Tanks are on the way. This gold base is going to be under fire. Solo going for a counterattack, going for a run-by. Tank is going to be sieging. Oh my god. ByuN, he does split the run-by. Just in time. He's going to be able to react. Going to be able to rotate over. Hellions are caught out. But the Lingbane run-by doesn't get across the map. That's what's important. ByuN leaving some units in position. Pushing in towards that gold. The mineral line. Drones are going down. We get 2. We get 3. We get 3 workers here at the gold. Bending run-by runs into the double drop. Again, good positioning by ByuN. ByuN does push in. Yeah, as it looks like the gold base is going to be going down. At the same time, Solar, he wants to try to catch this army. Wants to catch the drop, but alas, ByuN, he is paying attention, does pick up. Does pull back, and the 5th will fall. Solo, though, he commits. But there's just too much back at home. ByuN, he wasn't rallying across the map. He has his reinforcements, and now he's pushing. He deflects the counterattack, and ByuN, he's moving towards the 3rd. Solar still building up his Hydra count. Does he have enough? And tanks are leapfrogging forward. ByuN looking to snowball out of control. Solar going for another run by. So far, he's been unsuccessful. Runs into more Marines. ByuN, he's always leaving units behind. So he's ready for that backstab. Solar, he's trying to break through. Does come with some Banelings. And it looks like with the help of those Banelings, he will break into the natural base. Getting on top of the tank. Oh, he's not looking! ByuN not paying attention at the wrong moment. He's distracted by the run-by, and Solar takes a massive fight. Oh my god. Papi. Solar, finally, he distracts ByuN long enough. Does collapse on his Marines. And Solar, he will hold. He was up against the wall. Things were looking bleak, I'll be honest. Things are not looking good for Solar whatsoever, but he collapses on ByuN, not paying attention. Vipers have arrived. Blinding clouds get thrown down. And Solar will clean this up. Will clean up the tanks. ByuN, he's stuck basically with the 3-base all in. This is an 8 racks, by the way. 8 racks as he's lifting up his main base. ByuN has no economy behind this. It's a 3-base all in. 3-base all in here by ByuN, desperately lifting up the main. Still trying to commit, but the longer this goes on, the better it is for Solar. The hive is done. Vipers are out. Lurker Den is on the way, or Lurker upgrades are on the way. And Solar, he catches out the tank. Oh, not quite. Tank does siege. Tank does siege in time. ByuN going for a double drop, catching out the 5th. Gets a couple of workers. Gets a couple of workers in that mineral line, going towards the natural base as well. Again, ByuN, the pressure is on. He's so far behind here. He's lost a lot of momentum. But Solar is keeping up. Is keeping up. The tank count is getting a little bit higher here outside the bases. But yeah, with these Vipers, we can shut this down. Tank will fall. ByuN, he's getting caught out. And Solar, he collapses on the army. Decent tank shots. Not a bad trade when it comes to the Marines there. ByuN, he can keep pushing. But Solar is remaxing on more Lings. 56 Lings in production. Wasn't the worst fight for ByuN. Thankfully, he was falling back to 2 siege up tanks. His fourth base is getting up and running. Or I guess his new third. It's fully saturated. And now we have a fourth CC on location at the gold. ByuN, he isn't out of it. He isn't out of it yet. He's transitioning out of his 3-base all-in. And it is working. But he's still not out of the woods because Solar's about to max out, this time with Lurkers. And ByuN doesn't have Ghosts. No Ghosts, no Liberators. Again, his tech isn't really set up for that. So Lightning Clouds, they catch out the tanks. Lingbane rolls on forward as well. ByuN losing this position, comes in with a double drop, does catch a base. Oh my god. ByuN, he may have lost his tanks, but he does snipe the fourth. Fourth hatchery goes down. ByuN punishing Solar before moving out. Picks up, drops into the main base. Vipers are looking a bit exposed, but we do have Lings in position. Solar should hold. And thankfully, he has the gold base. Thankfully, he can just main out his drones over towards the gold. Still taking losses, though. Oh, the medevacs. They're solo, and the medevacs, they do get cleaned up. Finally, Solar gets control of his side of the map. Meanwhile, the gold base of ByuN getting up and running. Again, he can still sustain himself. Still hyper-aggressive. On the lunkers. Oof. One goes down. Lurker upgrades are done. Yeah, and Solar, he should be able to break through. Again, his army is just superior. Cashing out the tanks over and over again. ByuN, he's coming back in with a triple drop. He will deny this fourth. Will deny that hatchery. But it may not matter. Oh, he's going for the gold. Getting even more damage done, but his third base is being broken. Yeah, Lurkers, they get back home. Oof. They just work their way through those Marines. Take down the gold. Bappy. Solar. He's move committing back home. He wants to save his own gold base, and he will. Does save the hatchery, and now we can turn back around. There we go. Now we can focus on the gold of ByuN. We cover the tank in Blinding Clouds. Banelings, they crash on in. Not the best Baneling connections there from Solar connecting with tanks. But again, Solar, he can afford to trade in efficiently. And GG is going to be called. Solar, he just has too much. And Solar takes game number 1. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. That was a close one. I'll be honest. ByuN was ahead. Like, ByuN, he was breaking the gold. He was breaking the 5th. He was pushing through towards the 3rd. ByuN was ahead in army supply. Like, ByuN, he was in a commanding position. But the run buys from Solar finally paid off. Over and over again, they were being denied, right? Like, I was praising ByuN for just constantly keeping up with the Lingbane run buys of Solar. He was always in position. He was always shutting them down. It wasn't really worth it for Solar. And Solar, the pressure was on. He was up against the wall. And finally, Solar, he broke through with his Lingbane counterattack. He got into the natural, and in that moment, ByuN was looking at his natural. He was focusing on his defenses back at home, and Solar pounced on the main army. Some insane Baneling connections on ByuN. And ByuN, he lost his momentum, he lost his army, and as a reminder, he was going for an 8 racks. ByuN was going for a 3-base all-in. So to lose that momentum, ByuN had no follow-up. I mean, he should have had no follow-up, but ByuN, he was still relentless. He was so tenacious. He picked up his main base, took the 4th as his, or took the 4th as his 3rd, I guess. As he looked at his main, he got his gold up and running. He still made a game out of it, but was still too far behind. And Solar, he maintained his position, maintained himself, and does take a lead. Does barely take a lead here in game 1. And with that, it's a best of 3. It's a best of 3. Solar needs one more. Uno más to qualify for GSL to knock ByuN down to the lower bracket. Can ByuN fight back? Can we force the ace match? We're about to find out as we load into Site Delta. Let's go. Also, I'm catching up in the chat. Someone is asking, what is this tournament? This is the GSL qualifiers. This is the GSL qualifiers. If you are curious, it is a part of the title. You're asking if it's a rebroadcast. It is not. It is not. As is being clarified, the GSL qualifiers are never casted live, but the replays are provided. They're provided to the patrons of their Patreon. So we are going over the replays. Technically, these games occurred. They were played, I think, 5 days ago, 5 or 6 days ago. These games were played out, and we are going over those replays before GSL begins. Before GSL does start, and here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Vitality, leading the series 1-0. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran, the red Terran player, down in the series, looking to fight back. It is ByuN. Or Shopify Rebellion. Also, hold on. Exclamation mark frozen in the chat. There we go. I'm not frozen, Pappy. I'm not frozen. Oh. It is cold, though. It is cold here. We do see Solo going for a hatch gas pull. Standard opener from our Zerg player. This time, ByuN is going for a Rax expand. Remember, last game, ByuN went for a CC first, and he got away with it. He got away with his CC first opener. His opener was fine. His follow-up was fine. Again, just a bit of a lapse in attention at the wrong moment. And Solar, he just took advantage of that, of ByuN, and was able to snowball into a win. But I'm hoping we can sink our teeth into this series, and I'm hoping we can get more of a back and forth. I know we can, but again, it's on ByuN. On ByuN to claw his way back in. But now, Rax expand into a factory. Again, standard opener from our Terran player. And as is typically the case with ByuN, he goes Marine first. He goes Marine first. No SCV scout, no Reaper scout, no scouting whatsoever here by ByuN. Again, if he was playing against Dark or Shin or DRG, I would be scolding ByuN. What, Pop, you're crazy. But against Solar, I think you can get away with this. Like, the likelihood of Solar going for a gas first or going for a pool first and being aggressive and going for a Roach Rush. Again, stylistically, Solar isn't that kind of player. He's not that kind of player. He's not like Dark. He's not like Shin. So, as a Terran in this kind of format, in a tournament like this, against a specific player, ByuN can get away with being greedy and get away with not scouting. So ByuN doesn't scout, and honestly, there's nothing to scout. It's just hatch gas pull into a third. We're just droning, nothing crazy. So ByuN is going to be cutting corners, and he's going to get away with it. He is getting away with cutting corners. Reinforcements have arrived. Lings get shut down. Lings confirm the Hellion at least, so we know it's not a 2-1-1. Ooh, and ByuN, he's opening up aggressively. Now, fun fact, the last 2 times we've casted ByuN on Site Delta, he's gone for 2 base all-ins. He's gone for different 2 base all-ins constantly against DRG specifically. We saw it in KSL, we saw it in ESL Open Cup Asia. ByuN has been hyper-aggressive on Site Delta, and likewise, I'm pointing this out because there's no third CC. Typically, there should be a third CC here after the factory, but it is heavily delayed here. ByuN focusing on his medevac production. Moving out with a couple of Hellions, but we have a Tech Lab on the way. Going for an add-on swap, I imagine. Show us what you got. Show us what you got. With these Marines, this could even be a Hellbat push variation. Here we go. Medevac drop moving out. We have Hellions on the right-hand side. Cloak Banshees on the way. More Hellions to reinforce. I'm feeling an armory, but we'll see. As ByuN, he's looking for the Overlord. He's looking for the Overlord. We can see the Overlord is here on the right-hand side, not on the left. So ByuN, he misses the Overlord. There's the armory. It is a Hellbat push. Let's go. It's going to be a Hellbat opener here out of ByuN. He did the same thing against DRG a couple of days ago on this very map. Say a couple of days ago. I think a week ago at this point. Overlord dips in. We haven't gone into the main. We don't yet know how aggressive we are. Even though ByuN hasn't found the Overlord, it doesn't matter. Solo, he hasn't seen anything yet. And the Overlord is being hunted down. Solar is in the dark. Link Scout coming in, but we don't get in. The Link Scout is denied. And back at home, what do we have to defend? How many queens? 8. 8 queens, soon to be 9 queens. We do have a lair on the way. Spores are being set up to defend against Liberators. These are Liberator positioned spores, not against Banshees. Bailey Nest in production, but the push is going to hit first. Now, 8 queens looking pretty solid. And if you remember, it was a Marauder Hellbat push that ByuN did against DRG. That's it. It was Marauders, not Marines. Banshees come in. They're dragging the queens out of position. Uh-oh. They do force the queens to respond to the Banshee. ByuN pushing in. And do we go for the third or do we go for the queens? We're going for the queens. We're going to try and focus them down. Lings, they come in first round. And ByuN is being forced back. Well, there is no detection. Banshee getting some free hits off on those queens. Zoning them away. We're going for the mineral line. The drones. No. Spore is going to fall. Banshee gets a queen. Does catch a queen. Again, really careful control here out of ByuN. Does pull back. Doesn't throw away his army. Denies mining at the third base. And ByuN, he's going for a third of his own. He is expanding. He is transitioning out of this. And again, just really good movement here out of ByuN. Didn't kill too much. He got 4 drones, he got a queen, got a spore, but he denied so much mining, essentially forcing Soul to stay on a 2-base economy for so long. And ByuN doesn't throw away his army either. It's still alive, still retains it, and can still live to fight another day. As he's getting his third base. His third is on location. Solo now working on his own fourth. Speaking of, ByuN does come across that fourth. Does come across it. Does have stim. Bailey's are in position though. Solo will defend. Oh. As the Banshee harassment still has not ended, we get another 2 drones. Behind this, Solo, going into a pretty fast Hydra den. Is setting up for Ling Bane Hydra. Meanwhile, ByuN going to be reinforcing. This time with a tank, with more Marines. Third base is up and running. Banshee gets another kill. Oh no! We're out of energy. Looks like the Banshee will finally go down. Oh, God. We'll finally go down here. Outside the third. But it did its job. And ByuN, his goal is to try to dive on top of this fourth. Can he, though? Bailing speed is done at this point. It is researched here for Solar. Queens are in position. Creep is looking okay. Tank does siege. And right outside the hatchery. Hatchery taking a lot of damage. Queens are coming in. We can transfuse. We can transfuse that hatchery. Can keep it alive. Fourth base is on the way. ByuN is not going for a 3-base all in. Not this time. But the Ling Bane was spotted. And we're going for a run by. We're catching reinforcements. We do force a cancel on the fourth base. Oh, but the tank is solid. And we do defend. And ByuN is getting on top of the hatchery. Gets even more damage dealt. I'm loving the positioning of the Hellbats to protect the tank. And at the same time, a double jump on the right-hand side. Only Lings to defend. An efficient trade from ByuN. As he gets a queen, gets a second queen as well. Uh-oh. Gets a second, gets a third queen, gets a fourth. Snowballing a bit out of control. Getting a lot of queen kills. But he still has not denied that hatchery. Did cancel the fifth though. has denied the 5th. Ling Bane rolling in. It looks like finally Solo will clean this up. Collapses on the tank, connects here with the Hellbats. And shuts the entire army down. Ooh. So he does save his 4th, but once again denied the 5th. Solar is gaining map control. His creep is still struggling here on the left-hand side, but we're working on it towards the south. We're building it back up. Hive is on the way as we're working on 2-2. ByuN, though, economically, he is keeping up. The 4th was cancelled earlier, but he was able to rebuild. It's already being landed on location. Should be morphed into a planetary. His main arting over. And ByuN is able to keep up in the supply. And there is even going to be a window here, a small window where ByuN has 2-2 and Solar won't. We go, drop into the main base, push towards the 5th. We cancel it again. Solar being contained. Big mine shot. Oh my god. Massive connections on the Banelings. And with the death of Ling Bane, how do we protect these Hydras? We don't. Big connection once again. Not a single Baneling does connect with the Marines. And it looks like ByuN, he has too much. He's snowballing out of control. Lings are trickling in, but this is not a good trade here for Solar. You can see him plummet in supply. Ay. Those were insane mine shots, and one of the mines even survived. It's still there. Yes, ByuN is going to keep on pushing. Solar, he's in a lot of trouble. But the mine is cleaned up. ByuN going for a split push. Yeah, forcing a fight off of creep. Baneling's going to be going down. Good splits there out of ByuN. He's going for the 4th as well. And Solar, he just doesn't have the supply. Big mine shot in the mineral line. Drones are going down. The drop is denied, but the damage was dealt. Solar down to sub 70 workers. And ByuN just has too much. Again, a couple of good mine shots is all you need. And Solar cannot recover. Not after that. Hydras are going down one after the other. The army has been broken. Solar, he's down to a handful of units. He barely does hold on to that 5th. But ByuN is not stopping. GG gets called. Solar, he knows the writing is on the wall. And ByuN ties up the series 1-1. GG. Some insane. I think what was crazy about that game, it wasn't just like a really good mine shot. It was like 3 good mine shots, one after the other, like it was insane. The dominoes falling very quickly, one after the other, and Solar just could not recover from that. Just too much going wrong too quickly there. And with that, we're going to the ace match. We are tied up 1-1, and we're going to game number 3. And again, we cannot afford mistakes. Not against ByuN. Not in that situation. Do have to take care. Again, bleeding out too many Banelings in such a way, it's just, how do you recover from that? You cannot contest against the Marines, not without Banelings. Pure Ling Hydra crumbles. And here we go. We're getting into game 5. Game 3. The ace match. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our blue Zerg player representing Team Vitality, going for a 15-15, mixing up his opener a little bit. It is Solar. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion, tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. It is ByuN. Light is just mid-sneeze. Someday soon his mega sneeze will destroy the world, but he's holding it in for now because StarCraft. Exactly. We hold it in, Papi. We hold it in. Shaking my head. Oh my god, this is crazy. Okay, so Solar has gone for a 15-15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool. This is a very safe opener out of Solar. This is ideal against any kind of aggressive start from ByuN, but ByuN does the polar opposite. Instead of going for an aggressive opener, he goes for a CC first. ByuN should get away with this. Yeah, he should be able to get away with this and shouldn't really be punished for going for that faster CC. So ByuN is going to come out a little bit favored in the early game. Safe opener against a greedy opener is how this dynamic is playing out. So a good opener or good build choice from ByuN. And Solar, how do we get into this? When it comes to 15-15s, there are different variations. There are some where you delay the gas even further and you go for a gasless opener into a third base, into a fast third hatchery. There are also variations where you skip ling speed because it's going to be late anyway. You skip it and you go into roaches and you go for a roach heavy style, which I wouldn't be opposed to on Oceanborn. But as we mentioned earlier in game number 2, about how, and even in game number 1, about how Solar isn't really an aggressive player, I don't really see him throwing down a Roach Horn here. I don't really see Roaches on the table for Solar, so it should be Ling Bane. It is a little bit more predictable in a sense. So ByuN should be feeling safe. Behind this, getting into his add-ons. Once again, ByuN, no SCV Scout, no Reaper Scout, just like the last game. No scouting whatsoever, and ByuN doesn't need to. Again, it's a safe opener from Solar, so there's nothing really to confirm. I guess the one thing you would glean from a scout is that ByuN can be greedier, because he would know that link speed is delayed, and really we're focusing on queen production. So ByuN could try to cut corners. But overall, ooh, we have a very interesting follow-up. It's a CC first into a 1-1-1. A delayed third CC here for ByuN. Once again, an aggressive build. Now, if you remember, we saw this in game 2. The last game on Site Delta started with ByuN going for a Hellbat push. This doesn't mean it's going to be a Hellbat push, but this is the beginnings of the same build that we saw last game. Ooh, and it's going to be a Viking first. A Viking first, very interesting. We have seen ByuN play mech. ByuN did play mech recently in KSL. He played mech against DRG. Hellions are on the way. Viking going to be forcing back and killing this Overlord. There is a Tech Lab on the way. It looks like an add-on swap. We'll see if we do start Stim. Or go for an add-on swap instead. And there we go. Metamech is on the way. This should be for Stim. As the Overlord is going to go down. And once again, it's a Hellbat push. And like, it looks like the same build as game 2. Because it is almost the same build as game 2. It is going to be the Armory. It is going to be a Hellbat push here from ByuN. A different variation, of course, as we did invest into that Viking. Bit of a later Marine production and later Stim. We were headed in the same direction. Meanwhile, a big shout out to Flebbuster in the chat. Gracias, papi, gracias. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a good time. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to the GSL qualifiers. Welcome to the ace match here between ByuN and Solar. The Armory is about to finish up. Marines are still in production. ByuN preparing himself for the Hellbat push. What do we have to defend? We have 7 queens, a handful of lings, spine crawlers on the way. Solar, he has sniffed this out. He realized what's going on. Spine crawler is cancelled. He has faith. He believes. Oh no, Solar, calm down. Overlord is gonna fall thanks to Solar. As he did get some damage done on it by accident. Hellbat push is going to be forced back. We have plenty of queens in position. Solar, he will defend. And ByuN, where is the third CC? That is 4 more Raxes on the way. This is a borderline 2-base all-in. Uh-oh. Again, ByuN, he has been very aggressive recently. In that series that we casted with DRG, ByuN was going for just non-stop 2-base all-ins over and over again. It was crazy. And it looks like that's what we're getting here from ByuN once again. It's going to be 5 Raxes. 5 Raxes on 2 bases. We're amassing tanks. We have not lost our Hellbats. But we are containing Solar. Even a Hellbat drop. What is this? Heart of the Swarm? They bring me back. But again, ByuN just containing his opponents, getting an eye on any 4th base. Solar now getting into 1-1. Lair is finishing up. Bailing's speed. But if Solar is too greedy, if he drones up this fourth, he's going to be in trouble. Solar has to be very careful here. Very careful as ByuN is amassing an army. So I like this. I like this build from ByuN. Basically, we're playing with the series. Remember, game 1, ByuN went for a Hellbat push. It didn't kill Solar, and ByuN macroed out of it. If you remember. Here, it looks very similar. ByuN fails with the Hellbat push, backs off, and he should be macroing, right? He isn't. Here he comes with tanks to reinforce. Trying to catch Solar off guard, but he has been amassing Ling Bane. Solar hasn't been droning. He has respected this. Cutting workers at 62. ByuN pushing in. Solar now realizes what's been going on. Bailing's speed halfway done. Bailing's speed was delayed in favor of 1-1. Fourth base is going to be denied. Solar getting ready for a surround. He has Ling Bane here towards the north. He's going to collapse on this position. Collapse on the army. And there we go. He gets a full surround. The Bailings, they crash into the Marines. We crash into the tanks, and we do clean this up. Solar holds. He does hold. He saves the fourth base as well. And ByuN has nothing behind this. There's no third CC. There's no workers. There's no economy. ByuN is still all in. He's going for a split push. We have a tank to reinforce. We're going for a double drop on the right-hand side. Solar taking a 5th hatchery. We don't need this. It's crazy. 5th hatchery all the way for Solar. Against the 2-base player ByuN. The Bailings, they crash in. ByuN does overextend. Goes for a double drop into the natural. Spores repositioning. And ByuN trying to ramp it up to 11 here. Trying to pull Solar apart. Does drop at the 5th. Bleeding out a couple of those Marines. And ByuN, he is trading well. But there's just not enough here. We get on top of the tanks. This time there are no Hellbats. Bailings! They don't quite crash in, but we reset the tank counts. Again, Solar is still holding. Solar and able to keep up here with the drop for the most part. Liberators have arrived. Again, ByuN is still all in. Like, he still hasn't transitioned. There is no transition. Not anymore. We're committing the Queens. They're able to focus down those libs. They're trying to at least. The Bio Army gets cleaned up. The Liberators stand strong, but that's all that's left. We did kill all the Queens, though. But the Liberators are going to be shut down. ByuN just doesn't have enough. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for Solar. He's amassing a larger and larger army. He has lost all of his queens, or most of them, I should say. That is true. He's making 5 queens at a time. We do see ByuN picking up his main base, landing it as his 3rd. Bit of a desperation move here out of ByuN. But this will keep his all-in going. We'll keep him going. Once again, we do crash in. A tank goes down. How many tanks have we lost this game? 6 tanks. And 156 lings. ByuN is getting damage done. He's breaking through on the right. This Liberator with 7 kills. Not too bad. This double drop has been so annoying here. Very limited anti-air for Solar. ByuN just not slowing down. His macro is insane. Just once again coming out with 2 more tanks, another Liberator. The pressure, the aggression just doesn't stop. Can Solar catch the army though? Oh, not quite. Solar down in army supply actually. Maybe bleeding out too much. Double drop is coming. Can ByuN pull this off? Let's get a queen. Oh, a good angle of attack here from Solar. Gets the tanks. Going for the Marines. We'll be able to clean up some of them at least. Double jump on the right-hand side gets cleaned up as well. Liberator going ham at the 5th. Gets cleaned up as well. Solar, he defends, and you can see ByuN plummet in supply. That was the moment. That was the moment ByuN needed to try to break Solar. But Solar, he kept up. And ByuN, I mean, we could lift the natural if we need to. We could if it goes long enough, we could lift the natural, land it as a 4th. That's true. Does come in once again, gets a couple of drones. It's a couple of workers. Liberator still does survive. With 10 kills. I mean, these have been efficient trades from ByuN. Like, don't get me wrong, they've been very efficient. The problem is that we're all in. The problem is that he doesn't have to be efficient, he has to kill. And it's just not happening. Marine drop coming back in. Medevac getting low. Liberator finally gets shut down. Hive is on the way. Solar, he's on a 5 base economy. He's maxed out at this point, and ByuN still struggling to build himself up as well. He has a comparable army size, I will say. Like, he can take a fight, definitely. But this next fight might be the last one. As we crash into a choke point, we get on top of the tanks. Not the best trade here from Solar. But he still has too much. He overwhelms ByuN. He breaks through the tanks, the Marines. He shuts down the drop as well. And Solar can finally counterattack. He has broken out. He's broken free. He's going for the mineral line. SCVs that we cannot afford to lose. We barely have an economy to begin with. Good stutter stepping here out of ByuN. Microing his heart out. But there's only so much he can do. The base goes down. We're down to 1 mining base. Half a mining base. Meanwhile, double drop kills the 4th. ByuN does kill the 4th. He's going to be lifting his natural. Landing it has his 3rd. I mean, now he goes from half a base to a full base. True. True. It is more efficient. It is a better base to take. ByuN, he doesn't want to give up. He's so close to qualifying for GSL. Doesn't want to give up. Not here. He made it to the ace match battle. As he moves out, here comes a Ling run by. Nothing to defend. SCV is going to be going down. Looks like we will kill the 5th. Hatchery will fall. Solo with maybe too many Hydras. That's a lot of Hydras and less Ling Bane. But regardless, this run by, it's sealing the deal. We're down to 1 SCV, 0 SCVs, 0 workers left here for ByuN. He has 0 economy. GG gets called, and Solar will take the series 2-1, qualifying for GSL. GG, well played. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Solar, as he will qualify for the first season of GSL for the year of 2024. Congratulations. And ByuN is going to be knocked down to another qualifying match. If you're a fan of ByuN, do not worry, do not fret, because he still has another chance to qualify. But the pressure is on, and he does have to play at least 1 more series. Well, congratulations to Solar. Again, he is our most recent GSL champion. And ByuN had, again, a very interesting playstyle. He's been playing more aggressively recently. I spoke about it earlier, but we've been casting a lot of ByuN ZvT these past couple of weeks. And we've been seeing a lot of 2-base all-ins and a lot of 3-base all-ins. And clearly we can see that that was also mirrored here in the GSL qualifiers, where ByuN went for a 3-base all-in in Game 2. He went for an 8-Rax, if you remember. Sorry, it was Game 1 even. And he went for a 2-base all-in here in Game 3. So, again, just really, really aggressive styles here out of ByuN in recent times in this matchup with mixed success. You know, sometimes it looks terrifying, looks strong. Other times it does fall on its face. Solo was able to secure himself, was able to get good enough trades and get away with a massive economic lead. And now we find ourselves in the final series of the night. Here we go. It all ends here. It all ends... Ooh, in another ZvT. Then I do have to set up the match order. So we do have our results up. Just updating the scores. And we have our player. Sue has been patiently waiting for the loser of that series. And it is going to be ByuN versus Sue as the final qualifying match. Let's go.